Physical versus Chemical Lab!
Alright y'all, so now we're going to do another demo for this Physical versus Chemical Changes in Properties Lab. So what I've got here is I've got 2 pennies. Now I've dropped those 2 pennies into that Erlenmeyer flask there. Those 2 pennies are from pre-1982, so they're from before 1982. And there's a reason for that, but I'm not going to actually tell you what that reason is. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some nitric acid. Alright, now this nitric acid is not fun stuff to work with, but we need it for this lab. And I'm going to actually add it to this Erlenmeyer with the pennies. Okay. Now I'm going to actually put this whole contraption over the top of it. And we'll let y'all see what happens. Y'all, so the next one we're going to do now with this physical changes versus chemical changes and properties is we are going to take some baking soda and some vinegar, and we're going to see what happens when we put those 2 things together. So I'm actually going to start with this vinegar here. Put it on in there. Poured it all over my hand. That's awesome.
Go wash your hand, please.
And in the future, obviously with something like vinegar or any chemical, if you get it on your skin, you probably should wash it off or follow your teacher's directions on what you should do to take care of that. So that is what I did. I actually went over and washed my hands for a second. Alright, so next I'm going to take this and I'm going to dump as much of this baking soda into our vinegar here. Alright. So, do you think that's a physical or chemical change?
So in this one, we are going to work with a marshmallow and a bell jar. And guys, I'm going to put this marshmallow into the bell jar. And then tighten up our valve here. And I'm going to turn on our vacuum pump. So what our vacuum pump is going to do is it is going to suck all of the air out of my bell jar, which is going to cause the pressure to decrease in my bell jar because all of the air is being pumped out. And so we're going to see what happens to our marshmallow. See that after he was in that vacuum pump, that bell jar, he's quite a bit more shriveled than he was before. Okay, so that's part 1 of marshmallow. Now then, let's come over here to do part 2. and I'm just gonna take part in everyone's favorite camping tradition. And I'm gonna just roast him over that campfire. I don't know about you guys, but personally, whenever I'm roasting marshmallows, I'm all for just lightly toasted, but we're gonna make sure that he gets all the way burned. Oh yes. Flaming marshmallow on a stick, anyone? So this is marshmallow part 2. So guys, think about, is this physical or chemical for both parts? So what would part 1 be? Now what's going on over here in part 2? Doesn't that look tasty? Okay guys, so for this demo I have potassium permanganate. And I'm going to come show it to you. So potassium permanganate looks like this. It's kind of a brownish powder. Alright? Alright, and I am going to add a few drops of glycerin to it. And we'll see what happens.
So continuing on with our physical versus chemical changes and properties. So for this one, which is super exciting, it's really cool. All right, I've got this stick. We're gonna see what's gonna happen when it reacts with whatever I do here. So, are we ready? What just happened? Is that a physical or chemical change? And is that a physical or a chemical property? All right, there we go. Alright, now part 2 of the wooden stick. We've got our wooden stick, right? The stick that was actually broken earlier. I've got that stick, and what I'm going to do is see what happens here. Alright, so looking at that, we've got some fire going on there. So is that fire a physical or chemical change or property? Alright, there you go.
In this one, we have got sodium hydroxide in my graduated cylinder over here. I do want to mention that we don't normally use graduated cylinders to do experiments. However, this was the best option for you guys to really be able to see what was going on. But I've got sodium hydroxide in my graduated cylinder, and I'm going to add some cobalt chloride to it. I want you guys to make observations and think about, is this a physical or a chemical change? Well, let's do it. So as you can see, it's kind of a solidified jelly-like substance in there.
Alright y'all, next one for our physical versus chemical changes and properties. What we've got here is some ice. Now I've actually got 3 different substances that I'm going to put this ice on, and we're going to see what happens when I put them on this. Alright, so 1, 2, 3 blocks of ice. They're all pretty much the same size. Alright, we got them all about the same size. I'm going to drop them on the block here, here, and here. And we are going to see what happens and see how long it takes them to melt. As a follow-up question, I do want y'all to also answer, why do you think the ice is melting at different rates? All those plates are at room temperature, so I want y'all to think about why they are doing that at different rates. All right? So, there you go.
Okay guys, we got another one in the physical versus chemical demos. This one is going to be aluminum foil. Alright, you guys ready for this crazy change? Oh yeah. Ooh, getting crazy. Okay, what kind of change do we have? Okay, this is aluminum part 2. So I've taken my cool aluminum structure that I made and I'm gonna pop it into this beaker and I'm gonna cover it with hydrochloric acid. Let's see what happens.